Good day, viewers. You're welcome once again to Success Fashion Academy. Thank you for always subscribing, for always liking our video. And for those of you that are yet to subscribe, please do so that you can watch more tutorials. Today, we are going to be working on this project. It's a princess that bustier. I'm doing this princess that bustier. In recent times, you will have been seeing a lot of princess that how to cut a princess that bustier online, which everybody is doing. I'm not saying it's not correct. Everybody has their own way of doing things. But this one, I'm going to be showing you my own pattern that I made for myself, and it has been working for me. I'm using it to teach my students, and it has been coming out perfectly. It has been bringing their work perfectly. So I want you to stay tuned so that when you watch it from the beginning to the end, you'll be able to understand what we are doing. And if you have any question or any comment, you drop it in the comment box. I will attend to it concerning this. Thank you so much. So let's get started. So I told you it's a princess that bustier. I have my armor cuff, I have my neck cuff, I have my breast cuff, which is very, very essential in this project. You are going to use it to bring out the breast cuff. And I have my ruler, I have my marker, my scissors, and my pattern paper that I'm going to be working with this morning. So this is the pattern paper, and it's going to be on fold. So, and please, whenever you are folding your pattern paper or your cloth, make sure that you always calculate for it to be able to fit what you are going to use it for, because sometimes if you don't fit, you have to be joining, and that is not good enough. So the measurements we are going to be working with is under bust length 13, waistline length 16. The nipple length is 10 inches by 8 inches. The bust circumference is 42. The under bust circumference 34. Waistline circumference 36. Shoulder length is 8. That is 16. That is my shoulder length. The shoulder, I told you, for you to get accurate shoulder, measure it from your center back downward. For that is where you can get your accurate shoulder. So let's get started now. So this is my pattern paper, is already on fold. So I'm going to be putting my measurements on the pattern paper. So the first thing is getting the starting point. What does I mean by starting point? That's where you are going to place the shoulder, and make sure that if it's not straight, you make it straight. But this one now is on a straight line. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is going to be measuring the shoulder measurement. My shoulder measurement is 8, and I'm going to be joining it to sleeve. That is 8.5. You will 8.5. So my neck length, I'm going to be using standard neck length. Let me use normal neck length. You can use your own more than that. You can reduce your own. It all depends on you. I'm going to be using 3.5, 3.5 by 4.5. I told you can decide to use your own, but this is the one I'm going to be working with. That's for me. So when you mark it, you connect the neck together. So after then, you create your shoulder slope. Our shoulders are not straight on a straight line. So you create your shoulder slope, and here you come down by 1 inch for your shoulder slope. So when you come down by 1 inch, you slant it to meet it. So the next thing is for me to measure my armhole. I told you how to get your correct armhole in recent videos I've been showing you. So your armhole is 42, which is your bust circumference, divided by 6 plus 1.5. That is 42 divided by 6 is 7 plus 1.5. That is 8.5. So this is my armhole length here, 8.5. So you are going to rule from your armhole, from your shoulder to the armhole, 8.5. That's your armhole length. So at the armhole, you are going to get the middle of the armhole. 8.5 into 2, that is 4.25. So you get the middle of the armhole. The next thing is getting my nipple points. Putting my nipple points under bust and the waistline. So my nipple point is 10. 10, no addition, no subtraction. So 10, and the under bust is 13. Under bust 13, and the waistline is 16. So at this waistline here, I'm going to be adding 1.5 inches to the length. This is going to be attached to another flare at the down. I'm going to attach a peplum to it. But if you are doing it as a straight blouse, that you are not attaching it to anything, you add 2 inches to your length, because you are going to cut the lining, you are going to fold it, you are going to turn it inside. But for this, I'm going to be adding 1.5 inches. The 1.5 inches, what is it for? By the time you join, by the time you trim, it will be accurate for you, so that when you finish it, will not be as if it has jumped up. So 1.5 is the minimum you can add. Please note, 1.5 is, don't say, let me add half an inch, let me add 1 inch. Is the minimum you can add. But if you are working on a pattern paper here, before transferring into your fabric, you might not put it here now. You can just measure. But the reason why I normally told you to put it is so that you will not forget when you are cutting out the fabric. So put your 1.5 inches extra. So it will be 16 plus 1.5. That is 17.5. That will be the length we are going to be using. So we are going to rule out those lines. This is my under bust. This is UB. This is my waistline WL. And this is my nipple point NP. You abbreviate it NP. So the next thing for us is to input our nipple to nipple measurement. Nipple to nipple, as the fabric is on fold, the nipple is to nipple measurement is 8, so that is 4. So I'm going to plus half that you are going to use to join it. That is 4.5. So I'm going to start from the nipple point downwards, and you rule it. So this is the nipple point downwards. So this is where we are going to be needing a lot of patience, and you are going to calculate a lot of things here. For this bust 42, like I used to explain to my students, I told them there are some people, they have big breasts but smaller side. Some people are just have big breasts. They are at their sides, they are not big. So by the time you measure them, you see that this breast is too much. And while some people, they have a small breast, but when you measure it, you still be doubting as if what happened that this bust is like this. Those are the ones that are broad, but they are not big breasted. So for this busted that I'm going to be creating here, the way you create it for that, it will accommodate the breast of that person. If the person is either big bust or small bust, it will accommodate the breast so that by the time the person wears it, the breast will sit inside. So at this under bust here and the waistline here, I'm going to be creating it out here. Here I'm going to be using 3 as my what I'm going to remove to bring out the bust here. That 3 inches that I'm using, I'm going to be cutting 2.5 from this side, and I'm going to be shaping here by 1/2 inch. I want this place to have shape at the center front here. So the first thing is putting my 2.5 here from the waistline to the under bust. It's not to the nipple. Please listen very well. It's not to the nipple, to the under bust. So once I create it like this, the next thing for me is to come to this side. I'm going to be removing 1/2 inch from the measurement here. 1/2 inch. I'm taking that 1/2 inch and I'm taking it to from here, from the under bust to the waistline. So, and I'm coming to the nipple point, but I will not touch the wall of the nipple point. You have to be careful in doing this so that you will not go and cut away out of your measurements that you are using here. So you can see the way I did it from the waistline to the under bust is half, but when I'm coming to the nipple point, I have to parallel it here. So at this under bust here, this underside here, at the fuller side, I'm going to be using my breast cuff to cuff it. I'm going to be using my breast cuff to cuff it out. And I'm not touching the wall of this nipple point. You see the way I cuffed it out? If you can use your hand and it will be accurate, fine. So this one that is coming, you can see what I created here. This 3 inches, 2.5 at the side here, 1/2 inches at the center. When you are using 3 inches, you can remove more than 1/2 inches from the center so that the center will not be choked. It is good for it to have shape, but at the same time, if you remove more than half when you are doing this kind of measurement, it will be choked at this middle here. So here, you cuffed it out. So this is your center armhole. This cuff that is coming from here will have to go there. You can actually use a cuff ruler to bring it out. See it? The one that is coming from this side will cuff and go into the armhole. You know, it's a princess dart, and a princess dart is a dart that enters through into the armhole. So the one that is in this center like this, it cannot just stop there. It's going again to up here. So what do? At the armhole here that this one has entered, you come up by 1 inch and you connect it. The reason why you are creating this side, which many people don't do, is whenever you are doing the bust here, you are removing so many things here. And at the armhole, if you are not careful, your armhole will be bulgy because you did not remove. Like when you bought clothes now, you see that there is a princess armhole darts. Sometimes there is it at the side, sometimes is it in the armhole. The work of those armhole darts is for it to make the cloth for it to relax, the armhole to relax. So from this one that is coming from the center front like this, when I get to the under bust, I have to parallel my hand to the nipple, because if I'm coming straight like that, I will have cut away from the nipple measurement. So from there, it's going to come like this, and it's going to come in. So I told you 1 inch, but if I'm working for people that bust 50 and above, from bust 48, 50 and above, I used to remove more than 1 here. So when you are doing it like that, you make sure that your armhole your armhole length is correct so that it won't tight you. And I used to tell people it is good for it to be short. By the time you want to fix your sleeve, you can trim down your armhole. You can trim it down. So don't go and say, because I want to cut this place, I'm not going to be adding. When you join it finish, you can increase your armhole by the time you want to put your sleeve. So by so doing, your armhole will neither be too big nor too small. So as I come from here, I curved it to this place. So because it's a princess that bustier, and you know that whenever you join a princess that, it has to shorten. I used to tell people, whenever you join a princess that and it's equal at the armhole, that means it's not correct. So because the armhole will still shorten, you are going to extend your shoulder by 1 inch. You know, this is your actual shoulder length. So we are going to be extending it from the up to the down by 1 inch. And you are going to roll it. So, and you extend this line that we are coming with. So when you extend it like that, so that by the time you do join this, your armhole, this joining will be here because it has to be reduced by 1 inch. So by then it will accurate your measurement. If you don't do this shoulder extension, by the time you join this, it will come to somewhere here, and you know that it has shortened out of your measurement, out of your shoulder measurement here. So let's be guided in doing these things. So at the armhole, you can say I did not extend my armhole before. It is now I can now do my armhole extension. So this is my armhole. So the next thing for me, as you are watching this video, you can give this video a thumbs up if you really enjoy what we are doing. So the next thing for us now is to start putting our measurements. So the bust circumference, the waist circumference, and the under bust. So this bust circumference is 42. That is 10.5. So this 10.5 here, I have 10.5. And if you look at this wall here, if you look at here, there is a little gap here, like 1/4 of an inch. So I won't want it to go and shorten my measurement. So the 10.5 plus the 1/4 of an inch that I'm going to cut away here, that is 10 3/4. And you are going to join, that is 10 3/4 here. And when you cut it like this now, I believe you are going to join it back. So you have to put your, that's why I told you that you put your measurements before transferring it to your fabric so that you not forget. If you know you are not going to forget, you can cut it, just add your, whatever you are cutting away. By the time you are placing it on your fabric, you'll be adding your joining allowance. Please be guided. So it is better you put everything now, so that by the time you are placing it on your fabric, everything will be correct. So 10 3/4 plus the one that you are going to use to join it back, that is 11 3/4 with ease of 1/4 of an inch. So this is the line here, and my seam allowance is 2 inches. Let me repeat what I said. The bust circumference, and I'm going to join this place back. If you know that you will not forget when you want to transfer it to your fabric, you can leave it. When you are cutting the fabric, you can add your half inch allowance, because it's going to be half here. So the 10.5, 42 divided by 4, that's 10.5, plus this place that is here. I don't want it to shorten my measurement. You have to return, because I'm going to return this one too back to my measurement. Whatever you are cutting out here, you're supposed to return it back, so that by the time you cut it, your measurement will be accurate. So that's 10.5 plus this 1/4 that is here, that's 10 3/4, plus the one I'm going to use to join it back, that is 11 3/4 with ease. Always put ease in your clothing. So that is 12, and my 2 inches seam allowance. So at the under bust here, I have what I'm cutting away, 3 inches. Like, you know what you are cutting away is 3 inches here. So my under bust circumference is 34. 34 divided by 4, that is 8.5. So that 8.5 plus this 3 inches, because it's part of the measurement that is here, and I'm going to cut it out. So 8.5 plus 3 inches, that is 11.5. And I'm going to join it back by 1, that is 12.5. And my seam allowance is 2 inches. You see the way I'm bringing it up. At the waistline here, I have 3 inches, the same thing. So, and the waistline circumference is 36. 36 divided by 4, that is 9. So 9 plus these 3 inches that you are going to cut away. So 9 plus whatever is here. If it's more than 3 inches, whatever is here, you have to add it to your measurement. 9 plus 3, that is 12. And I'm going to join it back by 1, that is 13. Plus seam allowance 2 inches. So I'm going to connect them together. So you are going to connect it together like this. So at the down here, you should always know how to come up here. Even if you are going to join it to anything, you have to come up. So I'm coming up by 1 inch to give that place a slope. at the side we are not just straight, we have a shape at the side. So this is it. So this is how to cut the princess dart bustier, and I've been using it and I've been working perfectly for me. If you see it, it comes out perfectly. When you cut it out like this, even before you add a wording or a bracket up to it, it has already seated on its own. So this is the underbust, this is the waistline, and this is the armhole. That's why I create an armhole extension here, so that by the time I finish, it will come back. So the next thing is for us to cut. So I'll start from the neck. This is the next. The next thing is the shoulder slope, the armhole, the sides, and the down. So now we are going to remove out our bustier. I'm starting with the center front first. You can see when I told you I'm not going to put my hand on this wall. You can see the way it is. So at the side, we are going to be careful in this side so that you don't have a sharp edge here. So this is it. This is what I cut out here. So this is it. You see this is my princess dart bustier. So by the time that you join it, you see that there is an opening here, there is an opening here. By the time you join it, this place will be firm. This place will be firm for your bustier to come out. I'm going to use paper tape to tape it for you to see. So this is it like this. So let me start like this. So you start from the first one. You are going to start from the one that is coming from the down. Whenever you are joining it, sewing it on fabric, you have to start with the one that starts from the down, because that is where your armhole will. You have to get your perfect armhole. So I'll do it and I'll come and show you how I got it. So I'm through with joining it now, and when I want to use paper tape, I can see that it's because it's a pattern paper, it's not giving me what I want, so I have to use a needle and thread to brace it. You see the way it is. I have to use a needle and thread to brace it, but by the time we want to sew it, we understand it better. So when I join it like that, you see the way it is. This is it here. And look at it. When you join it, I told you it has to reduce. You see that if you don't put your armhole extension here, when you want to start, you can see that when we join it, because this place is, you bring out a bustier, there is rolling. And if you don't roll it very well, there is no way you put a wording that the beauty of the clothes will come out. So, because you roll it well, and if you look at my lines, they correspond. This is the underbust line. With this one, it's correct. When you chalk it, it has to correspond. Not that your nipple point will now be here. If you look at the nipple point line, it corresponds with each other. That means what I roll was okay. And look at it here. When I was coming, you see where it stopped. So now let's cross check it. My shoulder is 8 plus half. You see what I have here? 8.5. What if I did not do armhole extension? That means by the time I finish, my shoulder will have turned back to 7.5, and which is very bad. So the next thing is for me to get my armhole. We are reshaping it to our measurements now. Your armhole is 8, our armhole is 8.5. So that means it's just an half an inch that it makes it to come down. So look at your bust circumference. The bust circumference 10.5 is correct, and I have 2 inches seam allowance. My under bust circumference 8.5 here, and I have 2 inches seam allowance. You can see even without putting a wording, it has stand on its own. This is how it's going to be. You have shaped this place in. That's why you are removing out of the armhole. It will make this place to relax. This place is coming. There is no way the bustier will not show. So the under bust is the waistline, 9, and my seam allowance here. So now let's cross check our length. The nipple point 10, accurate. The under bust, the waistline. If you see it now, it has reduced to 17, and we have 16. You can see that if you don't put that extra 1.5, it will shorten because you roll this place. It has raising up more than what you did, and we are going to join it by half a, and by half a. You see that our measurement is correct. So this is our new armhole cuff now. So the only thing is for you to just trim it out. And that's all. So the armhole extension is very, very essential, so that by the time you finish it will stay. So I'm going to be cutting the back pattern now. This is the front. This is the front, and this is the back. So for the back, I'm going to be cutting out single, because it's going to be on fold, but I'm going to be cutting it out in a single way. So this is it. The first thing is getting your zipper allowance. I'm going to be using 1.5 as my zipper allowance here, and I'll rule it. Zipper allowance is 1.5. My length, my shoulder is 8.5, 8 plus half an inch to join to the sleeve. That's 8.5. The neck we used in the front was 3.5 by 4.5. The same thing you have to use. Don't go and mistake of using different thing from the front and for the back. So 3.5 at the back. So the next thing, you create your shoulder slope by 1 inch. At the back, the neck length, it determines whatever you want. Some people like their back to be open, some people like it small. This one I'm going to be doing 3 inches length. So the back length I'm going to be doing 3 inches. It's not the actual, it's not compulsory, that's what you should use. You can use whatever suits you. So for the armhole, for the length first before the armhole, I used to tell people that whenever you are cutting, your back circumference, your back length must be higher than your front by 1 inch, because our back was bent, we are bent at the back, so it's coming to the front. If you don't put it, by the time you wear it, your clothes will be pulling back. So the length that we use in the front was 16, plus that one that we use half here, that's 17. So at the back is going to be 18. 18, 1.5. So at the front, your underbust length was 13. Because this is a back, it has to be 14. And here, 18. Here, we don't need nipple points at the back. This back has to be longer than the front by 1 inch. That is why you don't add to your measurements. Maybe 10.5, that I'm going to be joining it. No. So, the next thing is, if your armhole at the front is 8.5, that means the back will be 9. It can be 9 or 9.5. But you can still leave it at 9. So you create your armhole length there. You see what I'm saying? You see it? It should not be on the same line. It has to be longer than each other. So my bust circumference is 42. That is 10.5. So if you want to put that at the back, you are free. If you don't want to put, you are free. Just 10.5 plus 2 inches seam allowance. At the under bust, 8 and that is 34. 8.5. If you want to put that, it's fine. If you don't want to put that, it's fine. But this, let's put that at the waistline to the underbust to the waistline. So at the underbust here, 8.5 plus that's 1, that's 9.5, and 2 inches seam allowance. So at the waistline is 36. That is 9 plus that's 1 inch. That is 2 inches allowance. So you get your nipple to nipple. For the dart, the reason why you are getting your nipple to nipple is because of that. So our nipple to nipple is 4 and half for joining. That's 4.5. So you can decide to do princess dart, the same princess dart. You can decide to do a shoulder dart, anyone. So for this, I'm doing a princess dart. Now that's 4 3/4. This is my half, and at the back, you can come in by half an inch. So you come in by half an inch. So you are going to connect here. You connect it to the armhole. So at the side, we are going to connect our measurement. So at the down, we came up by 1 in the front. So you are going to be doing so for the back also, and connect it into the line that is coming already. So this is your armhole. So this is the back pattern here. So you can decide to make a straight dart. If you don't want princess dart, you can decide to take the dart up. But when you are making a straight dart, you should have add your dart allowance into your shoulder, and you can decide that you don't want, maybe you don't want to do princess dart at the back. It's just for you to just hold the dart. When you put one, that is half an inch, and you bring it here. Just normal dart holding. This is it. You can do any one you like. So this is the front and the back panel. So we are going to cut the back. I told you concerning the neck, you can decide to do whatever length you want. And you might decide to use a looper. You don't want it to have a zip at the back. When you are doing a looper, there is no zip allowance there. Don't forget. So this is it. This is the back panel. So this is a princess dart if you want. This is a normal dart, and this is a shoulder dart. And if you are doing a shoulder dart, you add your dart allowance to your shoulder, so that by the time you finish it, you're not shorting your shoulder. Thank you so much for staying tuned to the end of the tutorial. So the next video will be on how to sew it, because I really want to show you how to sew it. You have to cut wording because you are going to use it.
So this is it now after cutting. So I told you the next video is about to sew it, and I really want to teach you how to sew it, how to cut wording on it, how to put interfacing and everything. So thank you so much. See you in the next video. And for those that have not subscribed to this channel, please do so and click on the notification button so that you can get updates whenever we get notification whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for staying tuned. So this is both the front and the back panel for us. It's a princess dart bustier. Thank you so much.